Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Okay, I'm probably going to embarrass the hell out of myself in this one. I guess it's um I'm not coming up with the right word, but I guess it's fitting because this is a hilarious movie, so I may I may embarrass the hell out of myself. So you're getting another video pretty damn quick because someone requested that I review Snatch. So that is what I'm doing here today. I am not wearing my unpaid shirt, but I am still unpaid. In case you were wondering, which you probably can't see in the video, but I'm wearing... I love Schwarzenegger. Anyway, a couple of disclaimers before we start this video. These are completely unedited, so when I fumble over a word and I can't come up with it, it's going to stay in the video. These are completely unedited and unfiltered, so I'm going to curse a lot in this one because there's a lot of cursing in this film. So if you're watching this and you have kids, you probably want to have them leave the room unless you're listening on your headphones or something. And spoilers will happen. So you can look at the list of movies below. I will put a list of movies below, and I will mention if I give a spoiler away, if I simply quote it, or if I just simply mention it. I will put a list of the movies below. So, like I said, someone requested that I review Snatch, and thankfully it is high on my list of one of the most hilarious, like one of my default, like if I just want to laugh the entire time, like I don't want to think about it, I just want to laugh, and this is definitely one of them. I think Guy Ritchie did a fantastic fucking job with this film. I think it's amazing. Have I seen other Guy Ritchie films? Yes, I've seen other Guy Ritchie films, and I think this stands out to me as like the top. Now, let me look at. There was something else I wanted to look at as far as Guy Ritchie, because I haven't seen everything he's done. Obviously, I haven't seen everything he's done. Lock, Stock. I hear Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels is awesome. I still have not seen it, but I need to see it. It is definitely on my list of like one of those things I want to see. Snatch is absolutely my favorite. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Oh, it just says it's screenplay by... Oh, this is writer. I'm sorry. Let's look at director. Let's look at director because I don't want to look at what he wrote. Although I love his writing. His writing is brilliant. It's fantastic. I want to also look at what he directed. So Lock, Stock is... He did direct it. Snatch, he did right after that. Sherlock Holmes. Now, for some weird reason... And I can't figure out why, so I've got to put it back on my list. For some weird reason, when I watched Sherlock Holmes, I didn't get it. And I don't know why I didn't get it. I think maybe I was still holding a chip on my shoulder, Robert Downey Jr., and that's a whole other situation. And I guess I just couldn't get into it. And for whatever reason, Sherlock Holmes never resonated with me, and I don't remember if I finished the film or not. I do not turn movies off that often, but every once in a while I do. And speaking of which, there's another movie here on his list of movies that he made that I did turn off. I don't think I turned off Sherlock Holmes. I think I finished it, but I don't remember it, and I don't know why I didn't like it or didn't remember it. So The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I did turn off. I couldn't get it. A lot of it was going over my head. I don't know why it was going over my head, but it really was. Maybe I wasn't in the right frame of mind. Who knows? But I did, 20 minutes into that, I turned it off. I wasn't getting it, and I know this is not for me. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Love it. Love it. I need to watch it again because I've only seen it a couple of times, but I like the direction it took. I don't care if it's true or false to the myth, to the story. Who cares? There are so many people who did their own Arthur Legend type of story, and I'm fine with it. I really enjoyed that film. He directed Aladdin? He directed the live version of Aladdin? I didn't know that. Maybe I'll go back and watch that. I never watched that. The Gentleman is on my list again. A friend of mine who's been writing for film and television, writing and producing for film and television for forever, since the 80s, since maybe in the 70s. He did not like The Gentleman. I think, if I remember correctly, he told me he was not a fan of that film. I wanted to see it ever since I saw the preview for it, and I like Guy Ritchie, and I love Snatch. Excuse me, but I never actually watched it. So I need to see that. And The Covenant. Oh my God, the previews for that look amazing. And I want to see it really bad. Is that out yet? I don't know if that's out yet, but I really want to see it. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, and when I saw the preview for The Covenant, I was like, that looks great. That looks fantastic. What is the release date on this? Maybe it's out already. That's something I want to see. I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole. So, Guy Ritchie, absolutely, my favorite is Snatch. So I'm glad that this got that I had a request to review this movie. So the first thing I want to say is that, well, not the first, because I've been talking for 5-6 minutes already. Jason Statham in this film, I love him in this movie. I've seen a lot that he's done. I love the Expendable movies, obviously because I'm a Schwarzenegger fan, but I'm also, a Stallone fan, a fan of a lot of those guys in there. Dolph Lundgren, I met him once, great guy. A lot of those people in action stars in that film are great. But in this, I love that Jason Statham is not playing the regular Jason Statham that you get in other movies, in The Meg or whatever, The Mechanic or whatever else he's done. You're not getting that Jason Statham, and I like that you're not getting that Jason Statham, and he does a great job at not being that Jason Statham. So I really love him in this film. He does a really, really good job. Benicio del Toro in this film, in like one of the second opening scene, not the first opening scene because that's Statham, but the second opening scene when the credits are going and he's he's talking about the story of the Virgin Mary and blah blah blah. He's a laugh riot, everybody in this. So that's the other thing I want to say is these guys, I mean, almost all of them. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of female characters in this story. There's a couple of them, and they're kind of throwaway, which kind of sucks a little. This is very male-driven character. A very male-driven film. Like almost all the characters that you pay attention to or anything, it's all male. I wish there were a couple other like significant females, but anyway, all these guys must have had so much fun with these characters because these characters are outrageous and they're written brilliantly. Like, the writing is amazing. The writing is amazing. The dialogue, the situation, everything. So the writing is wow. Guy Ritchie outdid himself. And these characters, there are so many actors in this film. Okay, Jason Statham, Brad Pitt, Vinnie Jones, Ewan Bremner, excuse me. So many people in this film, and it's just, Benicio, obviously, I already said that, and Dennis Farina, and, they must have had so much fun taking on, these characters, because almost each character is like a caricature character. Turkish, Statham is not quite like a caricature character. He's very neutral. And so is Tommy, played by Stephen Graham. He also is kind of neutral, although he has some quirkiness to it that I like. But for the most part, most of these characters are caricatures, and they're hilarious. That opening scene with Benicio del Toro when he goes in and then they finally like rob the place. All those brilliant like cut scenes and the quick movement and then slow movement and the angles turning on and the screen keeps turning, and I watch this and I go, holy shit, I can never be a director. I could never be a director because I can't see that ahead of time in order to do it. I just can't. It does not occur to me to do any of that. There was another movie it reminds me of. So there's another movie it reminds me of, brilliant, Elvis, that just came out last year. Wow, Baz Luhrmann. Why did he not get nominated for an Academy Award directing for that film? That is like one of the biggest fucking steals of the century. Not the century, of the decade. Like one of the biggest snubs of the decade is that Baz Luhrmann was not even nominated for directing for Elvis. Whoa! And watching that is the same, I feel the same way watching Snatch going, I can't see that. I can't see the cuts, the camera movements, what he imposes, what he superimposes, what he moves around. I can't see that. I don't see that. And the way they do it is brilliant. And Elvis is, whether you like Elvis or not, whether you like his music or not, who cares? I'm not the biggest Elvis fan in the world, his music or his films. I was not. But this movie, Elvis, was amazing. It was brilliantly done. And what Baz Luhrmann saw and was able to put on the screen is unbelievable. And I feel the same way with Snatch. What Guy Ritchie was able to do with the angles, so many great camera angles that you wouldn't even think of. Looking up somebody's nose almost, you know. The focus is back and forth without moving the camera because of characters moving. I'll talk about that later. You know, all those brilliant things that he did in the speeding it up and slowing it down and superimposing things and just like, whoa! I could never do that. I don't see that. And for him to see that and then put it on film, oh my God, I love it. Oh, I talked about that. The music is so perfect. So the music is great for this film. It's not that often that you see a movie, and with the subject of the movie and with the directing style, that you feel like the music meshes so well that you can't imagine the movie without it. It just fits so perfect that you can't imagine the movie without it. This is not a type of soundtrack like I keep going back to like Braveheart and Jurassic Park and Witches of Eastwick. This is not the kind of soundtrack where you just listen to on its own. You probably could, but it's not as moving and wonderful on its own. But when you watch it with the movie, it's brilliant. It fits so perfectly. In my opinion, legend. 1980 something, 89. Tangerine Dreams. That was another one that's just... But that's one that I can listen to just on its own. But that's another one that just fits so brilliantly. If you have the director's version, you can watch the Elliot Goldenthal soundtrack, and it's just completely different. Night and day makes the movie completely different, and in my opinion, it's horrible. The Tangerine Dreams is perfect for that movie, and brilliant, and fits just like this does. So I had that note about the music. The introduction sequence is genius. Thank you, Guy Ritchie. I love the introduction scene where they show everybody and a little clip of who they are, and then they say their name next to it. It's I've never seen that done before, and I think it's brilliant. I think it's wonderful. The fact that he did that is just perfect. It gets you a little introduction onto who everybody is, so that when they show up again, you kind of know who they are a little bit. And the way they all bleed into each other, throwing a pack or throwing something or going to... It all kind of like bleeds into each other. It's so well done. Like, I've never seen a movie that fun, having that kind of a carry through, that kind of fun, that kind of... it's just great. I could talk about every single scene here, just like when I did American Beauty. I could sit here and talk about every single scene and just how great and little things and why I like this and why he did a great job with this and the cameras and blah, blah, blah. But I don't want this to be, a review that's, twice as long as the movie. So I'm going to try to like just talk about a few things and embarrass myself a little bit, probably, with quotes, because I mean, there are so many quotes and great lines in this movie. There's so many like wonderful lines. I keep getting too close to the mic. Hopefully it's not too loud. There's so many great lines in this movie. It's just, it's hard to pinpoint one that's the best. But I mean, it's just those people who love this movie, who have seen this movie, all have their favorites, and I'm sure I may say a couple of them during the course of this review. Because, like I said before already, it's brilliantly written. Brilliantly written. Yeah. If it doesn't work, you can always hit him with it. That's another one. Boris is great. If it doesn't work, Heavy is reliable. If it doesn't work, you can always hit him with it. That character is great. Who's that guy? I've seen him in so many things. I hate when I don't know people's names, but it happens sometimes. I'm gonna look it up right now. Whoa. IMDb is freaking out on me a little bit here. Hold on. I like him. I've seen him in a ton of things, and I'm like, what is his name? IMDb is like totally freaking out on me. It's not showing. What in the world? Yeah, it's totally freaking out on me. Anyway, Boris the Blade. Okay, that's why I don't know his name. I don't know his name because I would butcher it. I'm assuming his first name is Raid, R-A-D-E, Raid. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. I'm so sorry. I would never be able to pronounce that. He is great. I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff. And as Boris the Blade, he's just perfect. He's perfect. He's great. Bricktop. Bricktop is so amazing. This character, and the guy who plays him, again, horrible that I don't know everybody's name. I wish I could remember everybody's name, but I can't. Bricktop. Yeah, and unfortunately, IMDb is freaking out on me, and it's only showing me part of the list. I can't find Bricktop, so it's part of... I don't know what it's doing. The website's messed up. So anyway, Bricktop is amazing in this. The guy who does the character, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else. He's not recognizable to me, but he is brilliant in this film. And much like when I was reviewing Reservoir Dogs, and I had noticed that I was starting to mimic Mr. White's lines before anybody else. There were big lines in this movie that I would always remember, but as far as watching the movie and mimicking their lines, because I love their lines so much, Bricktop was the first one that I noticed I started mimicking his lines as he was saying them. Not that I know every single line that he has, like Mr. White, I almost know all of his lines. Bricktop, I just noticed myself start doing his lines as he's doing them because his character is so great. Pull your tongue out of my ass, old Gary. That's the first line that he has that makes me crack up. Pull your tongue out of my ass, old Gary. You don't know the dog, are you, Gary? He is just, that guy does such a great job with that character, and he commits to this character, and it's so amazing. Like I said, the writing is brilliant, and these caricatures, these characters are just amazing and so wonderful. Another line, oh yeah, Bricktop or Tommy. Bricktop loves Tommy. Jason Statham is really good at this kind of comedy. He does such a great job with his line delivery. It's very funny. Is this straight man character a straight man comic? Is that the role that he's playing, like De Niro always plays the straight man. Is Jason Statham doing a straight man? I guess technically he is. I'm not that good with picking those things out, like who's playing the this type of character or that type of character. But I think that Jason Statham is doing basically the straight man comedic role, and he's so great at it, and his line delivery is perfect. And it's hilarious. He's one of the funniest people, without trying to be funny or without having funny lines. He's one of the funniest people in the film. He's wonderful. Dennis Farina must have had so much fun. He is so, again, there are so many great performances by great actors in this, and Dennis Farina is just I love him in this movie, and I feel like he's just perfect for this. And Brad Pitt, I mean, you can't say enough about Brad Pitt in this movie. You're not supposed to understand him. Actually, you are supposed to understand him at certain points. At certain points, you're not supposed to understand him. But he took on this role and this accent like a champ, and like just blew it out of the water. Like, just amazing. He's so hilarious. And like one of the most memorable characters in this entire film is Brad Pitt. And I love how quirky and ridiculous and fun, and it shows off Brad Pitt's ability, because if you also watch Burn After Reading, when he takes on that character, Brad, what's his name? I think it's Brad. That's another character that's like one of the most memorable characters in the film, because Brad Pitt really commits to it and really just blows it out of the water. He does such a great job. My throat's kind of dry. Do you have anything to drink besides mineral water or something? I forget what the line is. It's hilarious. His character in Burn After Reading is another character like this one, where it's just so fun to watch him have fun with his character, and it's hilarious to watch. I love it. What's the first line? It's a big fucker. Hey boys, go see this guy. He's the biggest man I ever saw. You a boxer? I bet you're a boxer. You look like a boxer. Yep. So much fun. I'm sure he had so much fun with his character. That first fight when he fights Gorgeous. I love that the decision was not to see the connection of the hit. That you basically just see him move and boom, Gorgeous goes down. It's such a great introduction to this character, because you don't know yet that this character is like the bare knuckle boxing champ. You don't know this. And then just to have that, the music is perfect. The cut is perfect. The directing is perfect. The camera work is so great. And you're just like, oh, what the fuck just happened? And then he tells you, who he is. It makes him harder than a coffin nail. Tommy the Tit is praying. And if it is, he fucking should be. I love that line. Tommy the Tit. When they're deciding what to do with Tommy. Vinny and Saul. Vincent and Saul. They are so amazing together in this film. Their characters are written so well, and the actors take it on so well. They're a laugh riot. You could just make a spin-off movie with those two guys. I think it's hilarious. And I feel like, could they be a couple? Like, they could totally be a couple. They didn't say they weren't a couple. They didn't say they were a couple. And I'm watching it going, these guys got to be a couple, right? I mean, that kind of because sometimes Saul's an idiot, a dumbass, and sometimes Vinny's a dumbass, and like mega fucking proportions, like both of them, like what are you thinking? And yet these guys are still together and still doing stuff together. And I'm like, are these guys a couple? They totally could be, and it would be fun. They should make a spin-off movie with those two guys. Speaking of which, oi, I thought you said he was a getaway guy. A driver. That's it. Oi, I thought you said he was a getaway driver. What the fuck can you get away from? Tyrone. Tyrone is hilarious. Just the situation and you know, who is this man? Tyrone. What is it? He's a man with four fingers and carrying a briefcase. Tyrone is great in this film. And that first interaction with him where he's got the car, you stop that dog from dribbling on my seats. This is a stolen car, Tyrone. While I'm at the wheel, it's my car. So stop that dog from dribbling on my seats. It's hilarious. And then he doesn't know how to drive, and then he can't get out of the car, and it's just like... Tyrone, I'm telling you, you could make a spin-off movie with Vinny, Saul, and Tyrone as their sidekick or whatever. That would be, you can make a hilarious movie out of that. It's hard to really get into stuff because these scenes happen so quick, and they're all small little scenes that further everybody's story, because you've got like 3 major stories happening here. You've got Vinny and Saul, and they're working for Boris, trying to get this diamond. Then you've got Doug and Avi. And Frankie Four Fingers, and they're also trying to get the diamond. But then you've got then you've got Turkish and Tommy, who don't know anything about the diamond, who are just trying to put on who are just trying to make a living in the boxing world with Gorgeous. And then you got Brigtop, who's a whole separate other thing. But you got several different storylines going here, and so he does a really good job of not leaving any story untouched, but that means a whole lot of quick little scenes so it's hard to really talk about something continuously. You're always jumping around because of the way that the scenes are. So anyway, we go from Tyrone to that's why my notes are choppy. We go from Tyrone and getting out of the car and things like that, and that hilarious part with the shotgun. That's an anti-aircraft weapon, Vincent. After that, Tommy and Turkish are trying to get Mickey to fight, and I love that part where he said, "I want a caravan for my ma." What? For me ma? And they send him the picture. That picture of his ma cracks me up. She's like, in the picture, who takes a picture like that? And it's like, of course, that's the picture that he has of his ma. That's another great line from Bricktop. I don't care if he's Muhammad Ahmad Bruce Lee, you can't change fighters. That scene is great. I love that sign. I mean, like I said, I noticed myself mimicking his lines before I mimicked anybody else's lines, and his character is so... I mean, everybody's character is so great, but for whatever reason, he's one of my favorite characters in the film. Aside from the dog. The dog is fantastic. Oh my god. Oh yeah. So I think of this entire film. I love this film, and like I said, scene after scene after scene, there are great scenes and great lines and great everything. I think one of my favorite parts of this whole film, it's gotta be my favorite part, when Avi comes to London for the first time. Shut up and sit down, you big bald fuck. I don't like leaving my country, Doug. I especially don't like leaving my country for anything less than warm sandy beaches and cocktails with little straw hats. We've got sandy beaches, have we? So who the fuck wants to see them? That just... I've been to London, okay? And so who the fuck wants to see them? We've got sandy beaches. Who the fuck wants to see them? Dennis Farina is amazing in this film. I love him. He's just great. He's just great. And then after that, when he comes, when Vinny and Saul rob the bookies, that scene is just so brilliant. It's like one ridiculous after another, where he gets stuck in the guard thing, and then he shoots a hole, and she drops it, and then there is no money there, and then she takes the shotgun from them, and it's just like one hilarious thing after another, and then they try to run out with a bag full of copper coins, which is probably only, maybe $100 at most in that bag, I would think. And then it won't open because it's a security door. No, it's because it's an innie, not an outie. That whole scene is it's just ridiculous and so perfect. So perfect. I love that when they rob the bookies. It's just great. Oh, okay. So one of my favorite, and hopefully I don't screw this up. So my brother's favorite line is if I throw a dog a bone, I don't want to know if it tastes good. You stop me again whilst I'm walking, and I'll cut your fucking Jacobs off. So Bricktop is great. I've said this before already, and the guy commits so well to this character, and that line is just... You stop me again whilst I'm walking, I'll cut your fucking Jacobs off. He's so great. He's great in this film. Boris. Oh, when Boris goes for the stone, when Vinny and Saul open the case, because they kidnapped Frankie Four Fingers. And Boris comes for the case. I love that whole scene where the ridiculousness of Boris the Blade's character is brilliant. It's brilliant. When he walks in, he's like, the case is stuck to his arm, or it's handcuffed to his arm, or whatever they say. And he's like, why didn't you chop it off? Of course, because that's the first thing you think of. Chop his arm off. What? So the ridiculousness of Boris's character is hilarious. And then when he walks in, he could not know my name, and he shoots him. And he walks in and said, the stone is in the case, and the only man that knew the combination, you just shot him. And when he goes down and he carefully lifts his leg, the guy's dead. So he very carefully lifts his leg, puts it to the side, and then brings out this big cleaver and hacks his arm off. That scene with Boris is it's hilarious. It's funny. Boris is great, and that little interaction, hair coursing. So when they do the hair coursing scene, the music again is brilliant in that scene. It's so perfect with the hair coursing. When they actually start the hair coursing, not like the stuff before it where they're negotiating, but when they actually start the hair coursing, I love the parallel between going after the dogs, going after the hare, and the rabbit, the hare, and the Bricktop's men going after Tyrone. I love that parallel to it, the cuts and them torturing him and trying to find out who robbed the bookies. It's very, very well done. And the back and forth in the music. I love it. A very good idea. Again, Guy Ritchie just outdid himself. This is such a great film. I create the bodies. I don't erase the bodies. Another great line by just some, random person. I love the camera angles at that point. There's a lot of great camera angles in this whole film. But like, who would think to literally put the camera on the ground and you've got three guys literally looking up their shirts, up their noses, literally. I get it. He did it from the point of view of Frankie Four Fingers, even though Frankie's dead. But that whole part, he doesn't show that real quick and then cut to them, side profiles or front profiles. He literally leaves it there the entire time. Even when you leave and you see Bricktop and his guys coming in, and then you come back, it's back to the same shot. He does not change that shot until they pick up the body. I love that. He did a lot of very unconventional camera work, and I don't know if that's Guy Ritchie's choice or if it's his cinematographer's choice. Who did the cinematography? Damn, IMDb is all messed up right now, and I don't know why. Cinematography, Tim Maurice Jones. I don't know what else Tim Maurice Jones has done. Known for cinematographer. He only did one episode of that, so it's not really all. I wouldn't know. He also did Lock, Stock 2, Smoking Barrels. Interesting. I mean, he did such a great job with this that I don't know why he hasn't really done much else. Anyway, I don't know if it was Guy Ritchie's choice to use the camera that way or to have that camera angle, or if it was someone else's choice. But it was such a great choice. And then right after that, when Bricktop actually comes in and that whole monologue about the pig farmer and what to do with pigs or how to get rid of a body, I love that. He does it so the energy has changed. The energy has changed, obviously, because he's here comes the bad guy. The energy has changed, and I love how nonchalant he is sitting there. And then not only how nonchalant he is, stepping over the body, sits down, just chill, crosses his legs. Not just him, but then when Errol comes in to give him his tea, he also, no problem, steps over the body, doesn't worry about anybody, doesn't even care. I don't even think he even looks down. Doesn't matter at all. Gives Bricktop tea, turns around, kind of looks at the guys and walks out. It's so well done. I love the way it's so nonchalant, and he just goes through his monologue about how to get rid of a body, how pigs will eat a body. And I love the slow zoom on him, the slow zoom as he's talking on him. He's the important one. And not only is he important, but he's very important. So it's not that we're just focusing on him because what he's saying is important. We are also zooming in on him to show you he is very important. I love that. I find it fantastic. I wasn't sure I was going to talk about this, but I might as well. I've said in a previous video, probably the Reservoir Dogs one. There are certain words I don't like. There are certain words that just irk me wrong. I'm not a big fan of them. Cunt. Cunt is one of those words that I've never been a fan of. Don't like it. And every once in a while, it's used very well. And I'm like, wow, I'm surprised. I kind of like that. They did a good job. This is one of them. When he's talking about a nemesis, personified in this case by a horrible fucking cunt, me. So I love that he used it well. I love that it's done well. The other one that I can think of off the top of my head is Inside Man. If you've ever seen that, Inside Man. I forget the guy who's talking to Jodie Foster. It says, "You're a." I think it's magnificent. You're a magnificent cunt. And she says, "Thank you." I think at certain times it's done well. I think it's overused, and I just most of the time I just don't like it. Don't like it. Don't like hearing it. Never use it. The only time I would ever say it is in something like this, or if I were acting and it were in the script. Bullet Tooth Tony. This really shows off Vinnie Jones's ability as an actor. He does such a great job as Bullet Tooth Tony, and it's not that he's just playing a character. I need to see Lock, Stock, because I'm assuming he's fantastic in that as well. He's in that, right? Holy wow, I'm totally going to mess myself up. He's in. Yeah. I need to see that, because I wonder if his acting is just as fantastic in that as it is in this. I think his acting in this is fantastic. His character is wonderful, and that helps when you have a lot of actors will talk about how if you wouldn't have a great movie if you didn't have great writing. And that's what, this huge writer strike is all about, and SAG has joined, and I agree with the strike. Yes, there needs to be. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. A lot of actors, when you ask them, about the film, how did you know, or where'd you start from, or whatever, they always say if it's not on the page, if it's not well written, what can I do? I can't do anything with it. There has to be good writing. And I think Vinnie Jones's character, Bullet Tooth Tony, is written really, really well for him, but also he shines. He does such a great job with this character. I've never seen him do that good of a job with acting wise. And in this, he's seamless. He's perfect. You can call me Susan if it makes you feel better, or what is it? If it makes you happy, you can call me Susan if it makes you happy. Yeah, just give us the blow, Susie. No, you don't. Rosebud me, oh son. You need me. He's great. He's fantastic. The line delivery, his demeanor, everything. He's fantastic. Mullet. The guy who plays Mullet, is he a pikey? Everybody talks about gypsies, because I can't understand a fucking thing he says. Ewan Bremner. And it's not just this movie. There's other movies he's been in that I'm like, what the fuck did he just say? What? He's such a great character actor. Again, another character actor. The Rundown. I love him in The Rundown. Black Hawk Down, and anyway, he's been in a ton of stuff. I love him. He's great. In this, he has such a small part, but it's funny as hell. And I love the part where he's driving down the road and he's got him in the he's got him in the window or whatever. And then Vinny turns on the song. It's Madonna. He's, oh, I love this track. It's Madonna. I never would have a character like. That's why I say the character is very well written. A character like Bullet Tooth Tony, who was shot 6 times in one sitting and survived, and like his favorite, oh, I love this track. It's Madonna, Lucky Star. Like, really? I never would have thought to put that song with that man, or that song with that character or that man. It's funny. Oh, yeah. Why do they call him the Bullet Dodger? Because he dodges bullets, Avi. That's like I was talking about before, and I said we would get to it. That scene where the camera is pointing, is at an angle, and basically pointing at Bullet Tooth Tony. His gun and his arm, and he never moves. His head moves, yeah, but his arm basically and his gun never move. It's stationary, and it's on Vinny. I think it's on Vinny, and it might be Saul. No, I think it's Vinny. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The gun is on him. And Dennis Farina is the one that's going back and forth with his lines. And then what I love about it is the camera doesn't move. We're not moving with Dennis Farina, but we are focusing with Dennis Farina. I love that. So, and it's just a quick little scene, but I noticed it and I really love that idea, is that the camera doesn't move at all. And we focus as Dennis Farina comes down to talk to Vinny and then goes back to talk to Bullet and comes back to talk to Vinny, and it focuses with him. So that must have taken some great timing. And who else but Dennis Farina could make that look natural? Like, it doesn't look forced. It looks natural, and he does a really great job with that, Dennis Farina. I like that part. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, because I don't mean to. But when he says Cossack, I don't know what that means. I don't understand that. And he says it multiple times in this film. If you know what that means, let me know. Slippery Russian's Cossack. He calls him a Cossack. I don't know what that is. It doesn't make... I've never heard that aside from this film. I've never ever heard that term, and I don't know what it means. It doesn't... I'm assuming it's a derogatory slang for a Russian. That's what I'm assuming. But I don't know. Anyway, he says that a couple of times, and I just thought it was... I don't understand that. Oh, yeah, that... Okay. Oh, yeah. So I talked about this a little bit before, how I love Jason Statham. I love his action stuff. His action stuff is fantastic, and he does such a great job in this. And then when we get the scene where they're in Snatch, where they're busting up the arcade, and then he grabs the bat, what we think, if you haven't seen it before, what we think is we're going to get Jason Statham, like in an action sequence. Yeah, now he's going to kick these guys' ass because he's Jason Statham. And what I love is that they don't do that. It could have been so easy, even though this is a comedy and this is fun, it would have been so easy to at least have Statham do some of his martial arts, some of his work there, and take out a couple of them, but then, more of them come, and then the scene, continues. It would have been really easy to do that, but they don't. And I love that they don't. That we get to see, because I'm so used to, the action-packed martial arts Jason Statham, that I'm glad that they don't in this film. I haven't, it's not like I follow Jason Statham, so I don't know what else he's done that's not action-packed like this. Or, excuse me, like so many other things he's done. I'm going to look at his list real quick. Oh, he was in Lock, Stock. I didn't know that. Oh, that'd be fun to watch. Snatch was one of his earliest films. Lock, Stock was music video. So Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels is his first film. Snatch is his second film. I could have used this in the book. There's one in the book that asks for early film of a famous actor or actress. I could have used this in the film, in the book, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't know that this was one of his first things. I had seen so much of... I had seen other things that he had done before I had seen this. Anyway. Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah. See, all this stuff, he plays bad guys, he plays action. I'm looking at his entire list, and I'm just like, yeah, of course. This is all... Yeah. The whole reason why I'm not saying every title is because then I'd have to write every single one of these movies in my description below. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of these movies. I've seen a bunch of his movies, and none of them are like this. None of them does he play a character like this where it's a really good, normal kind of person. He's not a superhero type. He's not an action. He's not a military man. He doesn't play with guns at all in this film. Tommy does. He doesn't. He's just a very normal person. And I like seeing him do that. Oh, yeah. The replicas? Really? Again, like I said, Saul and Vinny. Sometimes Vinny is the dumbass. This time, Saul is the dumbass. Replicas? What are you thinking? Vinny was able to get a shotgun. So we know that you can get a real gun. And in that scene with the bank robbery, Saul had a 6-shooter, a little, 38 probably, I think it is. So we know that they can get real guns. Why in the world does Saul get replicas? That's so stupid. And Vinny is like, what? What are we going to do? Deafen him to death? Oh my God. Like I said, those guys. Oh, that scene. Okay. I love that scene when the three major storylines, we're going to take Bricktop out of the equation, but the three major storylines converge in that scene where everybody's driving. They're not driving together, obviously, but everybody's driving, and it's so well done. I love that it's out of order. I love that, because the first thing you see is Vinny and Saul and them run into Boris. And that's the last thing that happens. Almost the last thing that happens. So I love that whole sequence. It's not only what's being said and what's going on, but it's the three major story arcs converge and they don't even know it. And it's so well done. And like I said, again, I love that it's out of order. It's brilliant. I mean, the writing, it's so well done. When they try to hold up or rob or whatever Bullet Tooth in the bar with the replicas. Again, this really shows off Vinnie Jones's ability as an actor. He does such a great job with this monologue about the dick and the two balls and blah blah blah. He does such a great job with this monologue that you take it very seriously. It's hilarious what he's saying. It's ridiculous and hilarious, but he does it so well that you don't laugh at it at all, that you really get the seriousness of the situation. He captivates you so well. I've never seen him do such a great job in a film. He's just so wonderful in this movie. And that scene is hilarious. I can't believe, one, that he would get replicas, and two, that they would trust them against somebody like Bullet Tooth Tony. I mean, they have to know who Bullet Tooth Tony is. They have to. And that they would use replicas against Bullet Tooth Tony, who was shot 6 times in one sitting. Really? Come on. Right after that, when Bullet Tooth shoots Boris in the hallway like a dozen times, it never gets old. It's so great. It's so hilarious. And I think that the camera is just at a tiny bit of an angle. It's so perfect, and the camera moves with him down the hallway. That does not get old. That part does not get old. I mean, they could have done it one or two more times even. And I love when he finally he aims and then he kills. He finally gets him. I love that part. That Boris is that resilient, because I mean we would have thought he was dead by now. Multiple times we would have thought he was dead by now, and he's still alive. And then he gets shot like a dozen times by Bullet Tooth. It's too great. Oh, and the next time you see Gorgeous, right after that, you see Gorgeous Jordan. His jaw is all wired. That always makes me laugh. Over one punch, he busted his jaw, and his jaw is wired. Oh, and I wrote this note. Naked lady cards. I've never actually seen, in person, naked lady cards, like naked women cards. Do they have naked men cards too? I wonder. But just to see them playing with those cards, I'm like, that's the first time and only time I've ever actually seen, naked people cards. And I knew they existed. I mean, of course, I've heard that they've existed. I just never seen them before. Do they make naked men cards? Do they make it naked couple cards? Like action? I don't know. Not like I want any. I'm not. I'm not saying that I want any. It's just something that popped in my head. The dog. The dog is hilarious. I love that this dog is such an intricate part of the film and a character himself. Whoever the dog trainer is, did such a great job. I think that dog is brilliant, is wonderful. My pen is leaking like crazy and getting all over my fingers. I love that. Oh my god, my pen, I think it exploded. I love that Avi, not Doug. Avi kills Bullet Tooth Tony trying to kill the dog, trying to shoot the dog. That the dog snatches the diamond is just perfect. I mean, again, Guy Ritchie, thank you for the writing. If you ever watch this video, Guy Ritchie, thank you for the writing for Snatch. The dog gets the damn diamond, and Dennis Farina's character, Avi, tries to kill him and ends up killing Vinny by accident, who was shot how many times? 6 times and lived? So just the fact that on accident he gets shot and killed. Oh my god, it's ridiculous. I love it. Oh, so I did notice this time around, and it had not occurred to me previously, even though I have seen this movie I don't know how many times, but it did occur to me tonight. In the fight, when they're preparing Mickey for the last fight, why are they taping his hands? Isn't this supposed to be a bare knuckle boxing match? Bare knuckle boxing? Am I missing something? I've never been to a bare knuckle boxing match, so I don't know what it's supposed to be like. But aren't their knuckles supposed to be bare? Or does bare knuckle just means that they don't have gloves, and so they tape them up too? I don't know. It's just tonight that's the first time that I realized, why are they taping his hands up? It's a bare knuckle boxing match. I don't understand that. Anyway, his opponent in that last scene, I've always thought that guy was such a good looking guy. I'm not attracted to him at all. He's not my type at all. But physically, I feel like he's such a great looking guy. I've always wanted to look that good. Like, you would look at a guy and go, wow, he looks great. Of course we all, because of Hollywood stereotype, because of just stereotype in America in general, magazines and health magazines, blah, blah, blah. We all want to look like, we all want to look like, Schwarzenegger or Van Damme, in their early days, we all want to look like, Chris Pratt did in Guardians of the Galaxy. I get that most people, that's what they want to look like. But if I'm being honest, I look at this guy that Brad Pitt fights at the end scene, and I'm like, I've always thought he was a really good looking guy. I would love to be able to just naturally look like him, and without having to do a bunch of gym work, without having to do a bunch of cardio work. If I could just naturally look like anyone, it would be him. Unfortunately, I have the genetics that, it's hard for me to lose fat. It's hard for me to lose fat. Genetically, my family we're all big. We're all big people. We all are all thicker than the average, people like Brad Pitt, who genetically probably couldn't gain a lot of weight, could never be fat. Maybe a little bit, but anyway, that guy I always thought would be that is what a gladiator would look like. Not somebody who's like sorry to harp on Schwarzenegger, but Conan did not have a gym, would not look like that. Yes, he lost a lot of weight, and he stopped being he lost a lot of weight. He did a lot of cardio, and he lost a lot of his muscularity for that role because they didn't want him to look gym body. But he does. You can't make early Schwarzenegger not look like a gym body. This guy that Mickey fights at the end of this film, that is what I would expect a gladiator to look like. Because there were no gyms back then. That's what I would expect someone... Anyway, not to go too... Don't want to go too much down a rabbit hole on that one. Anyway, I just noticed that when I watched this one. Oh, my pen is all messed up, so I can't cross any of these off. What note was I at? This one. Oh. So also on the last fight scene, again, like the beginning scene and like probably a couple other scenes throughout the film, I love the speeding up, the cuts, the quick movements, the cameras moving, the people in angle, the superimposition. It's so well done. And I can't see that. If I were to put an action film together, it would never occur to me to do that kind of thing. And that Guy Ritchie can see that and then voice what he wants and then get it done is brilliant. It's brilliant directing. It's wonderful. The part where he goes underwater, and he's looking at himself and he's still being hit. He's still in the fight and he's watching himself and then he comes up. Who thinks of that? People like Guy Ritchie. And thank you for people like Guy Ritchie that put that in a film that that's enjoyable, that I like. It's great. You freeze and pull a stupid face, but not Mickey. I love that that whole end sequence where they misdirect you at first and then they show you what really happened. It's really well done. Again, Guy Ritchie. It's really well done, really well written, because Turkish has the great, narration throughout the whole thing. Again, another great narration, done very well, keeps you in the story, doesn't take you out of the story. Jason Statham does a great job. And I love at the end that Turkish and Tommy end up with the diamond. I mean, they go to Doug the Head to sell it, and he calls Avi. Yes, but I love that they reap the benefit, that their characters are the ones who reap the benefit of the diamond in the end, because they're the altruistic characters, I guess. So anyway, Snatch is hilarious. I love it. I would not recommend it to everybody because it's there's a lot of foul language. It's very adult. And if you can't get past the accents, just about everybody in this film has some kind of an accent. So if you can't get past the accents, it's not the movie for you because you're not going to laugh like I do every time I watch it. So that's my opinion of Snatch. So you got an offshoot review that wasn't on the poster and wasn't in the book, although I realized that it could have been one of the ones in the book. I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll get another one out to you. Probably not tomorrow, but you never know. I mean, I didn't know I was going to do like 3 in a row. So there you go. See you next time. Thanks a lot.